For every holiday, my mother would ask the women in the family, my sisters, sister-in-law, my wife, my female cousins, to send samples of the desserts they planned to bring to the celebration for testing and to see if these desserts could make it to the food menu. My wife has been complaining about my mother deliberately rejecting every dessert sample she sent. So many times my mother has told her that she's being honest and keeping the guests' best interest at heart. Yet my wife still thought that my mother is deliberately excluding her since 2 of her dessert samples were rejected before. For this year's Christmas my mother is doing the same thing, but this time, she told every woman who are participating to make a cookie sample and send it to her for testing. My wife took it as a challenge, and to be honest, she worked really hard to make a good sample and sent it to my mother days ago, and the results just came in yesterday. I came home from work and found my wife upset. I asked what's wrong, and she told me that my mother rejected the sample she sent and decided to exclude her baking from the food list/menu for Christmas this year. I didn't know what to say, but she then told me she was backing out of the invitation to attend Christmas with my family. I was stunned when I heard her make this statement. I tried to talk to her, but she said it was done. I called her unreasonable to decide to bail on the whole family over some cookie sample. That's just freaking crazy and quite unreasonable. We had a full-on argument about it, and she stated that my mother caused this, but I told her that my mother is pretty serious and careful about the food she offers to the guests since we are going to have relatives coming from all sides of country. She told me to stop mentioning it. Later I heard her cry despite telling her that her baking is amazing and people have preferences, that's all. Am I the asshole for insisting that her decision was unreasonable? My brother and his wife have 2 toddlers aged 3 and 2. Due to a recent divorce and financial difficulties, I've been living with my brother and his wife for the past couple of months. His wife is not a fan of me staying with them, but she tolerates my presence for the sake of my brother, as I can tell. That though doesn't stop her from ordering me around the house and assigning me things to do, as I'm her personal servant. My brother defends her treating me like that and claims I should do my part too. I already do. But he claims that I don't do enough as a person who lives here too, to the point, my brother's wife had a horrible stomach ache the other day and my brother wanted to take her to the doctor. They asked me to watch the kids for a couple of hours until they come back, and I refused. I said I don't want to have this responsibility and that they should either take the kids with them, call an ambulance so his wife can go to the hospital and he can stay with the kids, or call our parents or her parents for help. My brother said, "But you're right here and we are in urgent need, please." I refused again. I said not my kids, not my problem. They ended up taking the kids and driving them to my parents until they came back. My parents called me and said I was being ridiculous for refusing to help. I reminded them how I'm not responsible for these kids and I don't have to be. We had an argument about it and they said my brother is very pissed and I should be in my knees apologizing to him and his wife when they return. They came home and my brother told me I have 2 days to pack my stuff and find somewhere else to live because he's done with me being a parasite in his own house and villainizing him or his wife for expecting the slightest help and contribution around the house, and that I crossed the line when in time of emergency I put my ego above their need for help. I defended myself and I honestly don't believe I did something wrong. I said they have the right to disagree, but they have to respect my thoughts and feelings on this as well. He insisted I have 2 days to either get my shit together or leave. I called my parents crying about what my brother and his wife were about to do and they sided with them and said I had it coming. Was I really an asshole? My brother and sister-in-law moved into my parents' house where I live a few weeks ago with their 2-year-old while their house is being renovated. I watch my nephew sometimes, but I don't know much about kids or taking care of them. I usually go to the gym very early on weekend mornings when it isn't crowded. Yesterday morning I got up and went to the gym as usual, no one was up yet. At the gym I leave my phone in the locker so I don't get distracted. I did my workout and went in the sauna for a while. When I got my phone out of the locker I had a bunch of calls and texts from sister-in-law demanding to know where I was, saying she needed me to watch my nephew while her and brother went out on errands. When I came home she blew up on me for not checking they needed me before going to the gym. They had errands to run and she missed her nail appointment. I don't think that's fair, but now I'm feeling terrible about it. Because of my work, I temporarily moved to the US with my family, my husband, Adrian, and my daughter, Maura. We're only going to be living here for the next few months, so we enrolled our daughter into an international school so she doesn't have to change her curriculum. It's important to note that my husband is Chilean, I am Polish, our daughter is obviously both, and she speaks both Spanish and Polish, as well as English, because we normally live in London. With that out of the way, we moved into our new house a little while ago. Our neighbor has a little girl around Maura's age and they've become friends quickly. I've only met the mom a few times, but she seemed lovely enough. Anyway, a few days ago, I was reading a book on my porch when I saw my neighbor, Leah, pulling into her driveway. When she saw me, she motioned at me to wait for her, so I put on my flip-flops and came over to help carry her groceries while she tells me whatever she wanted to tell me. She started the conversation normally, but then quickly turned into what she heard the girls talking about when they were playing yesterday at her house. And she was appalled, her words, not mine. Apparently, the girls were playing with Barbies. Yes, my 10-year-old still plays with them occasionally. So, the appalling thing my daughter did was not call her family doll's grandmother, instead she called them Abuela and Babcia, hence the mention of Maura's background earlier, one being Spanish for grandmother, the other Polish, that's how she calls her grandmothers. And Maura's new friend asked why and Maura explained it. And as kids, they continued playing. Leah was distraught at the idea that my child doesn't call her grandmothers, grandmas or nans or whatever else you'd call them in the US. I tried to politely explain to her our reasoning, but she went on a tangent how I am ruining my daughter's future with messing up with her head, threatening to call CPS on me. Yeah, she really said that, and that I am trying to brainwash her daughter into changing how she calls her grandparents. Anyway, I hate wasting my time on arguments, and she clearly wasn't in the right state of mind. I put the groceries down, told her, "Have a lovely day," and walked back to my house. I thought she might realize later what she's done was wrong, but no, she started telling all my new neighbors about the situation and she tried confronting me again. I told her to drop it and mind her own business, but she wouldn't stop. I eventually called her a stupid twat and told her to never talk to me again. In a twist of event, it seems some of my neighbors think I am the asshole for calling her that. I am confused. I didn't think calling someone a twat would be much of an issue, but here we are. Am I the asshole for that? I'm going to be vague because I don't want to turn this into a political debate, because it's not one. I'm hosting TG this year and everyone is excited. My house is in a warm location near beaches, so everyone in the family is excited to get out of the cold and dig their toes into sand. My family is large and, as expected, we all fall under different parts of the political spectrum. We might not agree with each other on some issues, but we treat each other with respect and love. That is, except for my sister Carrie and her husband Bob. They strongly believe in their politics and view anyone who doesn't agree with them as being wrong and need to be taught to be correct. Even family members who are in the same political party are wrong if they're not in 100% agreement on every issue. Every get-together turns into a heated debate with them on one side against everyone else, even with the people who vote as they do. Frankly, it's exhausting and life-draining just to be in the same room with them. To head off any political debate this year, I included in the invitation email a ban on political discussions and a request for a monetary deposit of $500. I picked this amount because everyone can afford it, but I wanted it to be a painful loss if they lose it. I stated that this money will be returned at the end of the night if politics are not discussed. Whoever brings up politics will lose their deposit. Everyone agreed and sent me the money except for Carrie and Bob. They replied that this was stupid and they don't have to pay a deposit to come to a family gathering. I answered, since it's my house, it's my rules. We went back and forth until I got tired of it and uninvited them. I'm here because they have children who will be affected by my decision and my parents are trying to talk me out of it. They want to see all of their grandchildren and they think it's cruel to prevent Carrie's from coming. They even offered to cover Carrie's deposit, but I firmly told them no. Am I the asshole for requiring a deposit to come to TG?